the army?
Yes. I served with you at Vindabana.
You can help me. Whatever comes out of these gates, we've got a better chance of survival if we work together. Do you understand? If we stay together, we survive.
Pleased to bring you the Legionnaires of Scipio Africana!
In my last video, I compared the situation of black men in this country to the struggles of the 439th Hardcore Commandos of the Vietnam War. Colonel David Hackworth was able to turn the 439th around by instilling a warrior ethos, a code into these men. We're fighting a strong adversary, and many of us are so traumatized that we've been fighting alone. But I must say, in recent weeks, I've seen evidence of black men working together, protecting each other. Many of us would call this being on code. But what exactly is the code? The following is my attempt to define it.
But most importantly, if you are a person who's a role model, if you're a person who's been admired, anything you say could be believed. Anything you utter could be taken as truth. My friend Nasser, he loved his father, idealized his father. He would do anything to make him happy. But his father was the kind of person who's not easy to impress. And year after year, Nasser tried, and his father was like, yeah. First year in college, Nasser got straight A's. And he thought to himself, this is it. This what will finally make my dad proud. He picked up the phone. He called his dad. Dad, I got straight A's. Are you proud? Please tell me you're proud, Father. Yeah, listen, son, I'll have to call you back. I'm busy. I'm busy was the single sentence that broke the camel's back. And he started drinking, doing drugs, hanging out with the wrong crowd. Nasser, why? Why are you throwing your life away? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? And one evening I got the phone call. Nasser's in the emergency room, drug overdose. I rushed to that hospital. I saw him on that bed, and I saw that machine go beep, beep, beep. And I saw doctors try to bring him back to life. Clear! 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 It's clear that a single word could have saved this life. Words have power. Words are power. Words could be your power. You can change a life, inspire a nation, and make this world a beautiful place. Isn't that what we all wanted? Isn't that why we are all in this hall? Your mouth can spit venom, or it can mend a broken soul. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be our goal. Counter, sir.
Don't speak negatively about yourself, even as a joke. Your body does not know the difference. Words are energy and they cast spells. That's why it's called spelling. Change the way you speak about yourself and you can change your life. Bruce Lee. Quote, folks had shit written all over the camouflage covers. We're the unthanked, doing the unnecessary for the ungrateful, led by the unqualified. Hack said, turn them over. We're not going to have anything written on them. It's degrading, disrespectful, and it's not good discipline. I also brought back saluting, a sign of military discipline that had been swallowed up by the rice paddy mud. Then I added a twist. When the soldiers saluted, I required them to sound off with a loud, hardcore recondo, sir, to which the officer would reply, no fucking slack. The salute, discipline aside, also built unit pride. The name Recondo, a combination of reconnaissance and infantry dope war, came from the rugged hands-on training of the 101st Airborne Division practiced at Fort Campbell, training modeled after the British Commando or American Ranger courses. Hank Emerson named the 1st Brigade the Recondo Brigade to make the unit feel elite, like an airborne outfit. Hitchhiking on this idea, I named the 439th the Hardcore Recondos. We painted the Recondo insignia on the sides of our helmet and on our vehicles just below the windshield, along with the word hardcore written in large white letters. All of this said we're different. We're not just plain old infantry, but we're the best. Dig it. Hardcore Recondos. We drove the point home that in infantry combat, the team, squad, platoon, and company was the primary instrument and inspiration. We stress pride in self, pride in unit, and to never let a buddy down, end quote. In the book of Proverbs in the Holy Bible, chapter 18, verse 21 states, life and death are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. It annoys me to say, but the old saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, may be inaccurate. Words spoken by the right person or the right amount of people can affect one's psyche and self-esteem. When the bulk of society, from our politicians to the destitute and all echelons in between, have a history of speaking death into Black men, propagating the same negative stereotypes, portraying us as the lowest of the low, sadly, we'll start to believe it. If left unchecked, this negative thinking placed upon us can lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy. This won't necessarily lead to a life of crime, but our brothers will be likely to achieve less, as he will expect to work harder for less pay and put up with constant disrespect and slower progress in his field of work. We need a concerted effort to speak life into one another, becoming the mouthpieces of our own counter-propaganda. Speak life into your brothers, never death. Also, strive to show your brothers the kindness the world denies us. Strive to give your brothers peace in every interaction. The mental health of this country is dependent on Black men being at the bottom. Therefore, this system will do everything it can to denigrate and terrorize us. This system is sinister enough. It poisons our minds enough. It does not need our help. Honor your brothers in word and deed.
look at us and say, damn, why is Chico driving that badass truck? Why is Amigo having that badass car? You know how that is? We stick together. Us Hispanics, we work together. We help each other out. As a Hispanic, you know what I have seen with black people? You guys always trying to compete against each other. Who's got the better car? Who's got the better truck? Who's got the better? Always comparing each other's shit. Always trying to fight each other. Always trying to put each other down. Y'all need to work together, like us Hispanics do. That's the difference between Hispanics and black people. That's why a Hispanic starts a business. Most of the time, he's successful because he's not doing it all by himself. He's got help.
Man, what is you on, man? What is you in? To you, bro. Man, shut the f up, bro. I don't know what all this weird it is. They don't have to be hella rude. They don't have to be rude. I don't know what this about. Did you steal something? Did you take something? Is he being put out the store? Man, no. No, I can't do nothing. No, I can't do nothing. Did he steal something? Did he steal something? What you mean? I pay taxes. What you mean? It ain't my business. What you talking about? You a fucking security guard, lady. Knock it off. Did he steal something? Did he steal something? You definitely don't want to with me. So did he steal something? Yes, he did. What? What did he steal?
Actually, I did not steal this.
Did you steal it? Did you take it? Is this theirs?
This is not from here. This is from Ross.
Oh man, come on, man. Don't worry about it, man. They fake.
Quote, Sergeant Morton was one of the best we had at spotting traps, Jim Robertson remembers. The guy was positively uncanny. We swore he could smell them. He saved our asses more than once. I wasn't so skilled. I was walking point one day and ended up having to ford a stream. The embankment was steep and I was intent on my footing, trying not to slide into the drink. Freeze, Robbie, Morton yelled. I instantly played statue and asked, what? Tripwire, Morton said, don't move. No problem. I was so scared I couldn't have, Robertson says. Morton came up behind me and pointed to a spot right in front of my face. Right there, Morton said. All I could see was the foliage overhanging the bank, Robertson says. He made me back off and pointed again. Right there, Morton said. What are you, blind? I still didn't see until he pulled me down to the ground and had me look up. With the sky behind it, I could make it out a very thin line. It was a monofilament, the kind we'd used for our trip flares, and it was that neck height. The VC had rigged it to snag some poor slob doing what I'd been doing, looking down as I entered the stream. If not for Morton's sharp eye, I would have hit the wire on the next step. But sadly, even Morton's expertise wasn't enough. He eventually tripped a mine, was badly wounded, and was evacuated to the States. End quote. I think many of us, myself included, believe that the zenith of masculinity is self-reliance, to go it alone. I'm certain this is the simultaneous result of traumatic upbringing, in which many of us have learned time and again that it is often more painful to trust than not. But also the media we've been exposed to, from 80s action films like Rambo to pro wrestling and the like. Of course, this is the extraordinarily flawed thinking. Navy SEALs, arguably the best warriors in the modern era, often work in 8-man squads or 4-man fire teams. Even the most elite among us are human. When stressed hard enough for long enough, one will make a mistake. The soldier needs to trust his squad to see what he can't, and the soldier must be trustworthy enough to do the same. From race soldiers to she-heathens to our treacherous legal system, there are many traps awaiting us, many of which are intertwined with others. Gentlemen, protect your brother and be sure he's protecting you, because we have all we've got.
We're learning more about a racially motivated attack in Jacksonville, Florida. The sheriff says the man who shot and killed 3 people at a Dollar General on Saturday targeted another store first, but left when a security guard showed up. He then walked into the Dollar General wearing tactical gear and opened fire. 3 people were killed before the suspect took his own life. The sheriff says the gunman left a manifesto describing hatred of black people. The suspect's father told police that the son had recently stopped taking his psychotropic medications and rarely left his room since dropping out of college. Earlier this year, the suspect legally bought both weapons used in the attack.
Quote, in late January 1969, I helped a group of badly led, dispirited soldiers transform themselves into the Hardcore Battalion, probably the finest infantry fighting team in Vietnam. Most were ordinary citizens, drafty soldiers who became great fighters because they found themselves in the war and figured out the best way to stay alive was to become better than the enemy. The more sweat on the training field, the less blood on the battlefield, end quote. The enemy can attack at any time for any reason. Thus, it is best to be as prepared as possible. Take care of your health. The typical American diet, coupled with the constant high stress of being a black man in this country, has led many of us to an early grave. We don't have much we can control here, but one of the few things we absolutely can't control is what we put into our bodies. Now, I'd be a hypocrite to demand perfection, but let's make a conscious effort to give our bodies less poison and more medicine. Also, do whatever you can to legally protect yourself. Learn a martial art. Attain a firearm, legally, of course. Have quick access to your lawyer's number. Invest in a body cam and dash cams. Record as much as possible. If the race soldiers want to target us, make them work for it.
Oh. What do you mean, basically?
Well, yeah, I mean, because of course, you know, we're getting into the details of it, but yeah, that's the gist.
Yeah, I mean, but you kind of deny it happened.
I deny some of the parts of it.
You deny parts of it don't seem realistic to you. You think they were embellished upon.
I think they're embellished, yeah.
The same way. This sounds. Oh gosh.
Oh boy.
They're gonna get trouble. This sounds similar to the slavery stuff too. Because that's literally the founder of, or the guy who made Roots said, I wanted a myth for my people to live by. So they often, but that's what they do is they embellish. And I'm not trying to say it wasn't horrible. It was.
Right.
But they want to make it like more horrible. So that they can control people.
Quote, back in Dogtown, Jim Robinson was in charge of building an ammo bunker using civilian labor. I know this one mama son who was placing one foot in front of the other, heel to toe, measuring the distance from where the sandbag pile was to the bunker. I pointed this out to Sergeant Stack. She's pacing us off, Stack said. She's a damn VC spy. We grabbed her and turned her over to the MPs. She turned out to be a VC. Stuff went on like this all the time, Robinson said. To avoid this kind of sabotage, I allowed no Vietnamese, civilian nor military, regardless of rank, inside any of our fire bases. I didn't trust a single one of them not to be a VC, and the fact that none of our bases were ever attacked by enemy infantry or sappers made a good case for the rule. We did allow a civilian barber to cut hair outside our front gate. He was good at his job, but I always felt a little queasy when he'd pull out his straight-edge razor, sharpen it to a fine edge with the leather strop, and then shave the back of my neck. Then one day he didn't show up for work. And the next morning he was recognized among a pile of VC killed in a hardcore ambush. My throat tingled for a week, end quote. I said it in my last video, but it's worth repeating. Our community has been far too xenophilic. And seeking love outwardly instead of internally, we've aided others in building and have had little to show for it. It's good to work with others, but know from jump what your reward is and get this on paper. Do all you can to ensure this deal is honored. If at any point you sense bad faith, leave the table. Also, we should consider our image in terms of propaganda. If you have a criminal past, strive to make your future accomplishments outshine what you've done in the past. Correct or shun those in our community that uphold ratchet behavior. Give the enemy nothing they could use against us. For example, you can help out your community, do nonprofit work, strive to be kind to everyone you encounter, build character witnesses. When the race soldiers try to move against us, it will be far harder for them to lie about our character or incriminate us with false evidence.
You think they scoped out my security system? I let them in, asshole! I practically handed them the keys. You heard cue ball, right? Pretty soon they're all gonna be daywalkers, man. When that happens, I'd rather be a pet than cattle. You got me, B? What do you think about that, man?
Two things. One, I've been on to you since they turned you. Two, it's not a dud.
Oh, great.
Quote, I wanted to get it into their heads that by stealing a page from the enemy's book, we could take the war to Charlie rather than waiting for them to strike. The problem I had to figure out was how to out-G the G, out-guerrilla the guerrillas, end quote. It is important to study and know the true history of this country, because in history we can find clues to our current situation. Times and technology may change, but humans do not. We must make it a point to understand how the system has moved against us. Such intel could help us predict the system's future attacks, that we may move accordingly. We can learn from the tactics used from other groups as well. For example, when European colonizers used polio-laden blankets as a means of biological warfare, one can learn that it is unwise to assume good faith ever. Another example would be the instance in which colonizers, as a means to end the ceaseless battles against the Native Americans, hunted down all bison in the region and preserved their meat and fur. When winter came and the natives were in need, the colonizers agreed to give them the meat and furs in exchange for their weapons. This capitulation led to what we now call the Trail of Tears. To give up your weapons is to give up your agency and freedom. I'm only one man, and by no means am I the greatest among us. So I don't see this as necessarily an end to this conversation, but a continuation. Please post your thoughts in the comments. Do you think I missed anything? What would you guys add? My third and final video on the novel Steal My Soldier's Heart will cover how to implement the code and the resistance to expect. Please like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, gentlemen.
Remember this, Raiden. The wounds of honor are self-inflicted. We now stand at the door of our final great act. We have planned, we have sacrificed, we have waited for the right moment. And now, we will restore the voice of our people.